Hey there, my name's Niandra and I want to look at the February 2019 patch notes. Okay, so a few people have noticed that on the PTR, Mercy does not slow down while rezzing during Valkyrie. Keep in mind, this isn't mentioned in the patch notes, which makes me think it's not an intentional change, although neither was Super Jump and they've let that slide for a long time, so there is definitely hope of this reaching the main game. Actually gonna have to be pretty cautious if this is kept in. I mentioned in my Valkyrie guide that it can be pretty easy to cancel your own res during ult due to extra mobility, and this will make it a lot easier. Throw in friendly Lucio speed boosting around you, and fuck, it could well feel like trying to navigate a horse on a frozen lake. Okay, second of all, damage boost is getting changed. If you've seen any of my other content, you'll know I'm fucking obsessed with DB, so when I saw the patch note, I was immediately a little wary and skeptical, but I think it's gonna be okay. When I play Mercy and I'm healing our Reinhardt, whenever I see him Firestrike, I will very quickly flick to damage boost, then go back. So when I saw this patch note, my immediate reaction was just, fuck, that's going to be so much harder to do now, isn't it? The damage boost change could be a buff with other heroes though. For example, you damage boost Junkrat as the balls come out of his weapon, then swap beam onto another ally who needs it while raking in the ult charge for both, and that seems really neat. As for the patch note in general, I just want to say, holy shit, I did not expect this many changes in one go. A part of me is wondering if Blizzard are a little panicked because a lot of people are unhappy with GOATs dominating the Overwatch League. I've seen some posts about crowds booing teams when they changed to GOATs, which is kinda fucked. Another change was the removal of off-season. This is fantastic. I always used to fucking hate off-season because comp was the only place I, as a solo queue player, could go to be with other people who communicate and try to win. Generally. To be pessimistic, I wonder if this was also changed due to Blizzard being scared since Twitch views are generally lower during off-season. It is kind of interesting how this patch primarily buffs DPS characters, those who aren't actually played in GOATs, rather than nerfing people like Lucio or Zarya. I actually quite like this approach of encouraging other compositions like heavy DPS to emerge because GOATs has the right to exist. You just want it to have counters or viable alternatives. One of the nerfs is McCree's fan the hammer damage, and I'm pretty happy to see this because it was buffed a few patches before. This shows that Blizzard is somewhat willing to revert changes. In the past, I kind of feel like they've been a bit stubborn after making a change people aren't happy with, and instead of reverting it, they'll touch elsewhere in the kit. Another is a buff to Sombra, which I really like. After they changed it so she no longer got ult charge from people using her hacked health kits, there really wasn't a huge reason to do it. Anyway, the patch notes are all round good in my opinion. As a Mercy main who likes to damage boost and play aggressively, seeing DPS characters get buffed is definitely pretty exciting for me. I did notice that the Guardian Angel bug where invalid corpse flypaths are shown that cause Mercy to jitter still hasn't been fixed, which, thanks Blizzard, very cool, at least her joints are okay. And lastly, Baptiste, the new hero. I love seeing characters with high unique utility, so I am quite excited. With them being on long cooldowns, there'll also be a management aspect, which I personally find fun. The Immortality Shield is extremely cool, and it's like a pseudo-defensive ult, a sort of time freeze that'll allow healers to catch up. Keep in mind it is stationary and can be destroyed, although Symmetra turrets only have 30 HP and people still ignore those. I think it may be useful against Zarya since Graviton Surge actually only lasts 2 seconds and the shield could buy enough time for the team. It'll combo nicely with Resurrection, although pedaling behind a wall may still be better when possible. Baptiste has an ability where if he holds down crouch, he can charge up a jump. I've seen some people who think this is OP, but I don't think we can really judge it until it's seen in competitive and over time. To me, forcing crouch for a second seems quite easily punishable unless behind cover or a shield. My friend Tom and I had a pretty lengthy discussion about his impact on GOATs since opinions seem mixed on whether he'll be ran in it or in counters. Brigitte's release shook up the dive meta in a very polarising way by countering a lot of the comp single-handedly. I want Blizzard to learn from this, and instead of going down that road, I hope new characters will help enable comps that counter the meta rather than just nullifying it. Even if you despise GOATs or whatever the meta is, going down the Brigitte path again isn't healthy for the game, in my opinion. If Baptiste is going to be running GOATs, who is he replacing? The consensus from my Twitch chat seemed to be Zenyatta, which, maybe. I personally kind of feel like Discord Orb, which the whole team benefits from a lot, is a pretty hefty thing to give up. Another thing is that Goats is quite mobile and about shoving their face into stuff, while a lot of Baptiste's abilities are stationary, which makes me think he'll be better in pirate ship, bunker, those sort of comps. At the end of the day though, although I love to theorycraft, I try to hold off on strong opinions on new heroes until they're a bit older and allowed and competitive. It always bugs me that whenever a new hero is released, there's a small minority that thinks the character is OP because they can kill a training bot in a second, you know, or just scenarios that aren't actually reflective of the main game. I remember a lot of people thinking Sombra was going to be OP before she was released because of her kit, and then we found out her damage is a little weak and she's never really taken off too much. I love looking at what other Mercy mains have to say and saw this tweet by Animetic who suggests Baptiste will always be meta. I thought this was super interesting because that is a very strong opinion. It then reminded me of something she tweeted when Hammond was released, having similar thoughts. I'm not showing these to be an asshole or anything, I have a huge amount of respect for Animetic, I just find it super interesting how impressions can change. When Mercy's healing nerf was announced, I was pretty dismissive of it, and it turned out to be a lot more effective than I thought. I'm not saying to be blank or not have opinions at all, because that's fucking boring, I'm just saying be open-minded. There's so many outside factors with a new hero or hero change that might not be noticeable right away. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I'm honestly really excited to try Mercy alongside Baptiste and seeing more DPS heavy comps which she works well in. And that's all from me this time. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.